On a cold autumn night near the Dnipro River, a radar dish rotates in deliberate mechanical arcs, its electronic eye slicing through darkness in search of incoming ghosts. In the glow of computer screens, Ukrainian operators track the telltale pulses that might spell another Russian missile raid. The system before them, an American-made Patriot battery, represents one of the few remaining guardians of Ukraine's skies. When the first Patriots arrived in Ukraine in 2023, they were hailed as a technological miracle, the long-awaited antidote to Russia's precision strikes. Kyiv was reported to possess at least 8 Patriot complexes, 6 operational and 2 under refurbishment. Now, after months of relentless bombardment, Western and Ukrainian sources suggest that only 5 may remain fully combat capable. The exact number of launchers or radars is uncertain, a reflection of both wartime secrecy and a harsher truth. Modern air defense is not invincible. Each lost or damaged battery leaves a widening gap in the country's defensive lattice. Russia, having upgraded its missiles and refined its targeting, appears to be waging a slow war of exhaustion against Ukraine's shield. For all their sophistication, the Patriots are being drawn into an unforgiving contest of attrition, one that tests not only hardware, but also logistics, crew, stamina, and the very physics of radar and interception. A Patriot system is not a single weapon, but a networked organism of machines, software, and human reflexes. At its heart stands the AN/MPQ-65 radar, a rectangular array of panels that scans the sky out to roughly 100 kilometers, tracking up to 100 targets at once. Every second, it emits rapid bursts of microwaves, pings that map the heavens in real time. Once a target is confirmed hostile, the radar hands its data to the Engagement Control Station ECS, a windowless trailer filled with consoles, digital maps, and tense operators. From there, orders ripple to the M901 launchers stationed several hundred meters away, each holding up to 4 missiles. The familiar white interceptors, long, lean, and costly, ignite with a blast that rattles the soil. Depending on the threat, the crew can launch either the older PAC-2, JAM-T, designed to explode near aircraft or cruise missiles, or the newer PAC-3 MSE, a hit-to-kill interceptor that destroys ballistic missiles by sheer kinetic impact. The choreography unfolds in seconds. Radar locks, computer calculates missile launches, and within less than a minute, the projectile meets its target at several times the speed of sound. But each launch also gives away the battery's position. Patriot radars, powerful and distinctive, shine like beacons to Russian electronic warfare units orbiting hundreds of kilometers away. To survive, the system must move frequently, a logistical challenge for a convoy of trucks weighing dozens of tons each. Maintenance is as critical as maneuver. The radar's cooling systems, the launcher hydraulics, and the encrypted software links all demand precision care. A single damaged component can cripple the network, nor can Ukraine easily cannibalize parts from another set. Every Patriot battery is serialized, coded, and integrated with its specific radar and command modules. Repairs often require coordination with Western technicians, or the shipment of modules abroad, stretching downtime to weeks. This is why reports that 5 systems remain combat-ready conceal a deeper fragility. A Patriot's strength lies not merely in the missiles it carries, but in the unseen web of electronic spares and trained crews that keep it alive. In the fluid battlefield of Ukraine, where targets appear within minutes and threats combine drones, decoys, and hypersonic missiles, that fragility becomes a strategic vulnerability. If a Patriot battery is the spear tip of Ukraine's air shield systems like NASAMS and IRIS-T are its armor plates. Together they form what militaries call integrated layered air defense, a web designed to catch whatever slips through one layer before it can strike something vital below. But as the war drags on, that web is tearing in places, leaving even the most advanced nodes dangerously exposed. In theory, the defense of a Ukrainian city resembles a nested umbrella. The Patriot batteries handle long-range, high-altitude threats, ballistic missiles, large cruise missiles, and long-range bombers. NASAMS, the Norwegian-American system, operates at medium range, ideal for intercepting aircraft or cruise missiles 20 to 30 kilometers out. The IRIS-T SLM, a German system adapted from a heat-seeking air-to-air missile, guards the immediate perimeter capable of hitting low-flying drones or helicopters. Each layer feeds data to the next through encrypted links and radar queuing. Ideally, an incoming Russian missile is detected hundreds of kilometers away. Alerts cascade downward, giving operators seconds rather than milliseconds to react. The system's efficiency depends on redundancy. When one radar goes silent, others cover the blind spot. But redundancy has been eroded. Russian missile and drone raids in early 2025 repeatedly struck power stations, radar vehicles, and command nodes. Several medium-range units were damaged or pulled to other regions to protect industrial corridors or frontline troops. The result, as one Ukrainian officer admitted privately, is that some Patriots are now fighting without their bodyguards. A Patriot battery without its short and medium-range escorts faces a dilemma. Its radar can track small drones or low-flying cruise missiles, but firing a multi-million-dollar PASI-3 at a $50,000 Shahed-type drone is economic madness. Yet ignoring smaller threats risks letting them overwhelm radar dishes, generators, or launchers themselves. Operators are forced into triage, choosing which threats to engage, conserving missiles for the most lethal vectors, and hoping that electronic jamming or small arms fire will take care of the rest. Each interception, though successful, drains resources and exposes the battery's location through radar emissions and launch plumes. The more often the system fires, the more predictable its patterns become. Behind the frontline glamour of intercept videos, there is a quieter war of logistics. Missiles must be trucked in from secure depots. Radar transmitters require periodic recalibration. Generator fuel must flow across a country whose infrastructure is under nightly attack. In the physics of air defense, exhaustion is cumulative. When Ukraine's Western partners first declared Patriot deliveries, the numbers seemed encouraging: at least 2 full batteries from the United States, 1 from Germany, another shared by the Netherlands, and partial components from others. Counting each radar and launcher as a system, some analysts tallied as many as 8 operational sets. Now officials quietly admit that only about 5 are fully combat capable. The difference may not mean total destruction. Often it reflects damage to radars, or launchers awaiting repair, or batteries withdrawn for overhaul. But even a temporarily disabled radar can break the network's geometry, creating a gap in coverage that Russia is quick to exploit. The Patriot's most vulnerable element is its radar. It must emit continuously to function, and those emissions are a beacon for Russian electronic intelligence satellites and aircraft. Once the radar's position is fixed, Russia can cue a strike package, a wave of decoy drones, followed by low-flying cruise missiles, then one or two high-speed ballistic warheads, like the Iskander-M or a Kinzhal. Even if most of the salvo is intercepted, fragments from near misses can shred antennas or power units. Sometimes the damage is minor, sometimes it is fatal. A destroyed radar renders its associated launchers blind. Technicians may cannibalize parts from another damaged unit, but such field improvisations take time and expose maintenance crews to danger. Attrition is not only about hardware, it is about ammunition. Each Patriot missile costs roughly as much as a small jet aircraft. Ukraine cannot afford to waste them yet. Russian raids routinely combine 50 or more airborne targets, drones, decoys, and real missiles in a single night. Even with a perfect hit ratio, a single battery's magazine could empty in minutes. Resupply is slow. Interceptors must travel from production lines in the United States or Europe, across the Atlantic, then by road or rail, into a war zone. Training new crews takes months. Every spent missile therefore represents not just money, but irreplaceable opportunity. Cost another sector, left unprotected tomorrow. Counting 5 operational systems sounds deceptively precise. In reality, each system might mean anything from a full battery of 6 launchers with a functioning radar to a skeleton configuration of 2 launchers tied to a neighboring radar through data link. Modern air defense is modular. Components can mix and match across units. That flexibility allows survival, but obscures clarity. Moreover, operational can mean different things. Ready to fire undergoing field repair, or standing by with limited coverage. Military planners measure readiness not as yes or no, but as a percentage how many launchers can actually shoot, how many interceptors are left, how many hours before maintenance. In that arithmetic, even small losses compound rapidly. Amid the numbers lie the operators, the crews who live, sleep, and work beside their machines. Each Patriot battery requires scores of trained personnel, radar technicians, missile loaders, command station operators, drivers, guards. Many have been on near continuous duty for months. The psychological pressure is immense. When an alert blares, they have seconds to verify data, select a missile, and commit to a launch that costs more than their lifetime earnings. Fatigue breeds mistakes, and mistakes in air defense are unforgiving. A delayed decision can mean a missed intercept. A false alarm can waste a missile. Western trainers emphasize discipline, but war compresses reaction time to reflexes. As one analyst put it, you don't win with technology alone. You win with people who can keep that technology alive under stress. The picture that emerges is not one of imminent collapse, but of gradual strain, the slow tightening of a vise. Each strike, each repair, delay, each redeployment chips away at the integrity of Ukraine's air shield. The Patriots still function, still intercept missiles with cinematic precision, but their margin for error narrows. Behind every glowing success video on social media, a missile streaking into the night, a distant explosion, lies the unseen reality of maintenance crews, supply convoys, and radar technicians racing against fatigue and physics. The Patriot, designed for set-piece defense of air bases and cities, is being forced into a mobile guerrilla-style existence. Relocate, reassemble, re-engage, repeat. In this transformation lies both ingenuity and risk. The system can adapt, but adaptation comes at a cost in efficiency, coordination, and long-term sustainability. Ukraine's defenders are learning to make an exquisitely complex instrument perform under battlefield conditions it was never built for. The question is how long that performance can be sustained. If Ukraine's air defense network is an organism Russia attacks it, like a hunter studying the prey's heartbeat. The tactics are not merely brute force. They are an exercise in combining sensors, electronic warfare deception, and carefully timed strikes to create dilemmas for defenders. One straightforward method is quantity married to variety. A typical Russian raid now layers dozens of loitering drones, small cruise missiles, and decoys ahead of higher-value salvos. Low-cost drones can chew up an interceptor magazine or force an expensive missile to be used inefficiently. Decoys, reflective strips, cheap, faux emitters, or simple loitering craft can trick radar systems into revealing their positions or into assigning engagement channels to non-lethal targets. The result is a cost-exchange disadvantage. Ukraine expends multi-million-dollar interceptors against cheap projectiles, while Russia can replenish drones at a tiny fraction of that cost. A more sophisticated vector is electronic attack. Russia fields EW systems designed to jam, spoof, and geolocate enemy emissions. Powerful jammers can raise the noise floor around a Patriot radar, reducing its detection range or inducing false tracks. Spoofing can create phantom targets that waste time and missiles. Even when jamming doesn't completely sever tracking, it complicates the engagement. Calculus operators must decide whether a smeared blip is a real threat or an artifact. Meanwhile, ELINT platforms and space-based sensors listen for emissions. Once the Patriot's radar signature is fixed, strike aircraft or long-range missiles can be cued with precision. Russian planners have also refined sequencing. In one model, a first wave suppresses and destroys supporting NASAMS or IRIS-T positions units that would normally clean up the smaller, low-flying threats. With those bodyguards neutralized or diverted elsewhere, a second wave targets the Patriot itself. This is the doctrinal equivalent of isolating a chess piece and then removing it. It transfers the burden of defense squarely onto the remaining high-end systems. On the kinetic side, advances matter. Hypersonic-like profiles and high-speed ballistic missiles compress reaction time, while low observable cruise missiles exploit radar gaps. Warheads and fusing have also evolved to deliver lethal effects against electronics rather than merely structures, shrapnel, and fragmentation that can incapacitate antenna arrays. Power conditioning units or sensitive cooling systems, even when the interceptor intercepts the main body of a missile. The attrition of a handful of batteries has outsized significance. Politically, it tests donor resolve. Western governments pledged advanced systems to Ukraine, but those platforms are finite. A Patriot lost to damage or prolonged maintenance is not swiftly replaced. Production lines, export approvals, training pipelines, and logistics all take months or years to reconstitute. Policymakers watching repair schedules and readiness percentages are forced into stark choices. Divert more assets to high-risk theaters. Open classified spares and maintenance channels. Or accept growing vulnerability in critical areas. There is also a messaging component. Footage of intercepts plays well on social media and stiffens resolve at home. But footage alone obscures the hidden ledger of missiles, expended hours lost to maintenance crews stretched thin. Donor publics may grow reluctant if they see advanced systems being degraded without clear signs of strategic reversal. For Ukraine, the calculus is brutal. Each battery is not just a shield, but a bargaining chip in the diplomacy of survival. Industrial realities compound the dilemma. Missile factories and system integrators have limited throughput and must prioritize among customers. Training a competent Patriot crew cannot be rushed. Proficiency depends on drills, live fire exercises, and seasoned leadership. Even if allies accelerate shipments, the human and logistical tail remains the rate-limiting factor. There are pragmatic responses that can blunt the attrition curve. Tactical dispersion and shoot and scoot drills reduce the window in which a battery is exposed. Greater emphasis on mobility, rapid dismount and remount procedures, decoy emissions, and the use of hardened but temporary shelters can buy survivability. Sensor fusion, whereby airborne ISR ground radars and allied satellites share data in real time, can make individual radars less vulnerable by reducing their duty cycles. Stockpiling interceptors and rotating allied batteries into theater on fixed schedules can smooth supply shortfalls. Equally important is rebalancing the inventory toward numbers more medium and short-range systems. NASAM's IRIS-T. Short-range air defense will relieve Patriots from having to engage trivial threats. Investing in passive civil protections, hardening critical infrastructure, improving redundancy, and bolstering emergency logistics reduces the stakes of temporary gaps in air cover. None of these is a panacea. Mobility reduces accuracy. Decoys complicate command and control. Stockpiles require money and political will. But layered adaptation practiced relentlessly can preserve much of the network's deterrent value, even as individual elements are attrited. The story of the Patriots in Ukraine is not one of heroic invincibility, but of conditional power. A Patriot battery is as formidable as the web that supports it. Stripped of that web, it is merely an expensive target with an awesome dwindling punch. The war of attrition currently playing out over Ukraine is not decided by a single headline-grabbing intercept. It is adjudicated in supply depots, maintenance bays, convoy routes, and in the stamina of crews who must keep machines humming under duress. If the defenders can maintain the logistics, diversify the layers, and keep the human element from burning out, the air shield will hold, perhaps in a thinner, more austere form. If not, the gaps will widen, and the strategic consequences, political industrial human, will be felt far beyond any one missile strike. In the end, technology matters, but the ability to keep technology alive, to feed it, move it, and repair it under fire matters more. This is an analytical perspective, only not an endorsement of any military action. Our aim is to inform, to weigh evidence, and to encourage sober attention to safety and accountability. If you found this useful, please like and subscribe. It helps us produce more evidence-based coverage.